Saya daripada grup 4. We will talk about clause 49, unfulfilled obligations. Similar clause in PAM 2018, it will be clause 6.4, contractors obligation not relief. For CIDB 2000, it will be clause 7.1, contractors general responsibilities. For the comparison, all three forms reinforce the principle that contractual responsibility does not end at physical completion. For the related cases, we choose Syarikat Pembinaan Perlis Sendirian Berhad versus Sri Kinabalu Sendirian Berhad in 1991. Next, clause 50, suspension of works. For the similar clause in PAM 2018, it will be clause 21.4, postponement or suspension of the works. For CIDB 2000, it will be clause 19.1, suspension of work. For the comparison, all three contracts allow the employee to suspend works with formal written notice. For the related cases, it will be Pernas Construction versus Syarikat Rasa Bina 2004. For clause 51, events and consequences of default by the contractor. Similar clause in PAM 2080, it will be clause 25.1, default by contractor. For CIDB 2000, clause 44.1, determination due to default by contractor. For the comparison, all three forms share a common approach. They list specific contractor defaults and require written notice before termination. For the related cases, it will be Sia Fia Ton versus Lim Siu Hui, 1965. Next, clause 52, termination on national interest. For the similar clause in PAM 2018, it will be clause 35, expert determination. For CIDB 2000, it will be clause 46, termination without default. For the comparison, in all three forms, contractors are entitled to fair payment for completed work and associated costs, but not for loss of future profit, ensuring a balance between employee flexibility and contractor protection. For the related cases, it will be Bams Harding versus Arab Malaysian, 1996. Next, we will talk about clause 53, termination on corruption, unlawful or illegal activities. For similar clause in PAM 2018, clause 35.1, defaults by contractor. For CIDB 2000, clause 44.1, determination due to default by contractor. For the comparison, all three contracts provide for termination due to corrupter unlawful behavior, but the approach and severity differ. For the related cases, Sin Yang Contractor versus United Engineers Singapore in 2008. Last but not least, clause 54, liquidated damages LAD. For the similar clause in PAM 2018, it will be clause 22, liquidated damages and certificate of non-completion. Similar clauses in CIDB 2000, clause 40, delay and liquidated damages. For the comparison, all three contracts provide for liquidated damages in the event of delay in completion, where the contractors is required to pay a predetermined sum without the need for the employee to prove actual loss. For the related cases, Cavendish Square Holding BV versus Mark Desi. Thank you, that's all from me.